So here we are standing in part of our farm called Cortijo Vera, which is in a community known as Figuerones, which is in Spain, and this region is known as the Alpujarras, this mountain region. 24 years ago we moved from Bristol to what was then a ruin and overgrown land, and moved into a mule shed with our little boy, who was then a year and a half old. With the idea of trying to be at the beginning as self-sufficient as possible, but then it became very obvious that you can't be self-sufficient, you have to work within a community. And very fortunately around us, and a bunch of similar-minded people came to live here, and so was born what is now known as the community of Figuerones. The community developed around us, which now 24 years later has become quite established, and that's led us to being able to do work swaps between us. Here we swap things like vegetables, so we have a whole barter system that goes on here. That works very well. Same goes for collecting seeds. If you have to swap seed, you can't keep the same seed all the time on your land because it'll go weird. So it's good to swap it with other people and bring it back. This is another reason why it's all good to live within a community, etc., etc.
We're collecting some beans called Royalty. They're really nice, tasty bean, and purple, but when you cook them they go green. So this is a climbing variety now, which is great because it makes use of the space going up rather than out along the ground. So technically you can get more crops for your space. I'm doing this for the seed bank. A couple of friends of mine in the area and I set up a seed bank, which we have gardens for. He takes seeds from the bank and grows seeds back and gives some of it back to the bank, and then the bank shares them out again. It does help if you swap it with other people who are living in different setups. It just adds some seed vigor.
When we first came here, we were very idealistic. We had lots of ideas, we've read the books, but we had very little practical experience in growing anything, building, or any of these skills which we had to take on board. So obviously that was quite a challenge, plus the fact that we moved from the city to the country and a country to a different country. So these were a number of different things, but very fortunately we met the local neighbour was a lovely old guy who, once my Spanish was together, was able to explain to us how all the irrigation system worked traditionally, how you plant by the moons traditionally. And so what we were able to do is learn firsthand the old ways of doing things here, which subsequently we realised was more or less the same thing as permaculture. When he passed away, the next person to arrive was a woman called Cathy Whitefield, whose husband is Patrick Whitefield, a well-known permaculture teacher, and he then added other parts from permaculture that we needed to know to continue the thing, plus the fact that we both like doing experiments. So we've also been adding our own way of growing things here and way of doing things. We've been trying to grow English varieties of things, and we find we can grow them in the colder parts, and we've even been able to grow varieties from the West Indies in other parts. You name it, we can grow it here. We've also got chickens, we have goats, therefore we can make our own milk and cheese and yogurt, etc. For me, off-grid means being able to do as much with yourself and within your community as possible, with as little, as it were, need for the so-called outside world, or Babylon, or whatever you like to call it. Clearly this is not 100% possible, but it's amazing how close you can get without feeling uncomfortable, as it were. Yes, we do buy things from the supermarket, but we try to minimise that. We can make our own soap from the olive oil. We've learned how to preserve vegetables using drying techniques in chutneys, in jams and so forth. And and a number of other things, but we can't do it all. This is again the fortunate thing about the community. Within the community there are builders, there are carpenters, there are other growers, there are jewellery makers, just to name but a few. So the centre of all of this is the idea of cooperation rather than competition, and actually works even better than I thought it would. Of course we have our differences. It was never an intentional community, and I think that's one of the reasons it's been very successful. So where do we go from here? Well, obviously, the more, as it were, we go off grid, then the more, as a collective, we start to do ourselves. We now have a midwife school for midwives who are tending home birds. So this is a very positive move forward, and we're about to have our first independent school, unschool, set up here as more and more parents in the area decide that the state system is definitely not good news. This is another part, as I see it, off-grid, where you begin to put all your own, individually, collectively, and in bigger collectively, from the bottom up, you begin to put your own society in place, one that you want to see and one that everybody wants to see.
So at the moment I'm looking for a space to set up education space inspired by Montessori order and a prepared environment for the kids of the parents around here. There's a big need for open education spaces. At the moment, a certain percentage of parents are definitely waking up to the state school system and how horrifically designed it is. And so they can't necessarily afford a traditional private school offering an alternative pedagogy. So there's this sort of big black hole exists. There are no good, easy options for them to have to send their children to any space that they're happy for them to be in all day. So there's a community near here that set up a system where they look after the kids, a few teachers, and the parents chuck them €20 a week. That sort of model seems to have worked. The parents are happy, the teachers are happy. It's a model we can kind of follow in other off-grid communities, let's say. I think it'll work somewhere, and I very much hope it'll work here in Cigarrones. There could be more. Hey! Wow! And
lovely.
so this is Edda, Cigarrones.
Do you like living around here?
Yes, I love it.
What do you like about it?
What?
What do you like about it?
What I like about it?
Yeah.
I like about it that here is a nice place, there are loads of trees,
Yeah.
so there's loads of air, and the air we need to breathe. And one can also climb on the trees and have loads of fun. And also the red thing over there, there's also something where one can climb on and also have fun, like up there, you see
Yeah.
it? Red
Oh
thing.
yeah, you got the red, like the silks.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
silk. And one can have huge fun. And so many things one can run around the field. We have
Yeah.
that yard where we can sleep in, but we also have a dome. It's so nice on this road. There's a hammock, then we have another hammock in the dome, and then we have another little one. And the field is just so nice, and that's where Anna lives. I can go and play with her. There she has a garden, and yeah, it's quite nice. That's why. And there she even has flowers.
Yeah, we've got flowers and trees.
It's a beautiful place. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
Excellent.
And there are millions of trees.
There are
Look, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree. Everywhere's a tree. I can't even count how much trees.
Yeah.
There's a tree, 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 there's a tree. Everywhere a tree is a tree. Everywhere are trees and canyon.
Yeah.
It's a lovely, nice place.
So, 24 years later, I can reflect on what we've achieved, what we've we've learned, and realised how ignorant we were when we came and how much we have learned. And personally, I can say that the lifestyle is very much more, I feel very much more relaxed than I did when we first came to the city. I certainly feel healthier and I'm certainly fitter. For example, none of us in that 24 years, and that includes my son and my daughter, have ever been to the doctors or the health system at all. We were able to, as it were, cure ourselves with the herbs we've grown here. Because of the food we eat, we rarely get ill. These are things I didn't know would happen as a consequence. It's just that 24 years later I can see that all this actually is true. The healthier you eat, the less you get ill, and if you have the herbs to treat the illness, you have no problem. Delicious. So the first thing you notice is then how much power you take back to yourself from having given your power away to various multinational companies and utility companies and the government. This becomes a joy because you are free, and freedom is very precious and something we don't really know what it is until we're there. And then we've spent the last 24 years learning how to be free. It's not so easy. I'm very 24 years later, it seems like it's just gone past. I'm still very happy here. We always have new people passing through, and that keeps things fresh with new ideas. That is also very important, I think. And we're very fortunate. We have a number of creative people here, so we can entertain each other. Also here, we like to share our knowledge with people, and we've already done courses with some young people from Madrid, some of whom have actually decided to come and live here, from the city to the campo. And we also are on the Workaway system, so that people who want to come and see what we're doing can come and help us keep the whole thing together, because there's a lot to keep together. So we would love to invite people via the Workaway system. And also, for those who have less time and are in work, we are offering courses in all this, so you can come and have a chilled holiday in the sunshine, eat all the delicious food we have here, and we can show you what we're up to, and you can have a play.